What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one wants to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, and the QQQ, talk about some very nice looking setups that I'm seeing, and break down some very important things coming out for the markets. Before I break into all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So, as a reminder, guys, when looking at the data, most of the data has been quite decent when it comes to initial jobless claims. This was a little bit low, but everything else is quite decent. Besides that, the PMI reports were close to expectations. And the last thing we're going to be looking for is going to be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is just a few minutes from now. We have the 4-week and the 8-week bill auctions coming out. But besides that, there's not really much else coming out when it comes to data. When it comes to the market, we're actually starting to see some bulls stepping in. I want to break down something very important about this. So we're going to start off with SPY. On SPY, I told everyone that if you want to be really bearish, you need to see SPY lose 468. That was a very important level. That was a very important support. We had to close below that to turn very bearish. And instead, what happened was, we ended up bouncing off of that. So we didn't end up breaking 468. We actually held it very nicely, and we got a nice bullish breakout from this channel that we've been in. Now, there's no guarantee yet that this is going to continue to break out, but I just want to mention that in the past, there was a time where we kind of broke out and came back in. So we're going to be watching to see if that happens or if SPY is ready to get a nice bounce. Now, I want to call out a couple of things. We have this imbalance at 472.5. This could be tested on SPY soon, not to mention another imbalance at 475. So we have two imbalances which are worth noting. On top of that, when you look at SPY, let me actually switch over to one screen. Don't want to overcomplicate this. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. You'll also notice that once we go to the 30 minutes time frame, we just broke above our 50 EMA. So we broke above this resistance and we're holding very nicely. The next resistance is going to be at the 200 EMA at 472.5. This is going to be our next target. Overall, we look bullish and it's trying to break out. We also had a bullish divergence right here. The 30 minutes looks bullish. The 4-hour time frame is also turning. So this is showing some life, showing some strength, and showing that 472 is on the table for a nice push up. So we're starting to look like we're trying to break out. We also broke out of this resistance so far. We need to see SPY continue to hold this. If you want to turn bearish, we need to see SPY basically break back down, lose 470. That's going to be the first sign. And the second sign is going to be a break below 468. We haven't broken 468. We actually bounced off of that. So right now it's favoring a small little bounce. But I also want to call out something else that's important. If we do keep going, because I can't guarantee we're going to go all the way up to 475, but if we do keep going, I'm going to be eyeing a possible head and shoulders. This is just a possibility, guys. Don't take this too seriously just yet. Right? We have this left shoulder here, right? We have we have the head up here, and we could be forming like a right shoulder before we end up breaking down later on, right? Just a possibility, right? I just want to note this. This is something you should keep in the back of your minds just to be safe. So I'm seeing this as a potential setup. We're starting to show life on SPY and it's trying to break out from here. It actually broke above this yellow resistance trend line. So it's showing some life. I'm going to be watching 471 as resistance. That's where this wick was right here. 471.6, 472. Also, there's 472.5 technically. And if we break above that, we could get very close to 474. It looks a little more bullish, at least for the really short term guys. Not saying for like the next year. I'm just talking about like for the current setup. That's what I'm seeing on SPY. For the QQQ, I want to call out another very important level. First off, we've broken our first level of resistance. We actually could draw another resistance right here. Just to see what this looks like, we have another one coming up right about here. We now draw that as resistance. So we have this channel on the QQQ, excuse me. So we're going to be watching 400 as resistance. If we break above this, we're going to be looking for a push for at least 402. That's going to be our next target. Going to be watching to see if this can break. We actually broke the first level of resistance right here. So we have this trend line right here, which is our first level. I can actually redraw this, make this white. I'm going to change this to red. So we broke the white trend line of resistance. We're testing 400. If we break this, going to be looking for a push for 402. QQQ is showing some life. Apple is not really helping it as much, but Nvidia is giving it some potential. Watch 400 as resistance. Watch 397.5, 396.5, 395 as supports. It looks like it's trying to push. Let's see if we can try to get above 400. The QQQ is showing a little bit of life. Nvidia has that bullish step. Remember, I called this out in the morning, guys. I said we had an inverse head and shoulders on Nvidia. Right now, it's trying to break out. So this is actually gaining some more traction. If we break above 485, we're going to be looking for a push very close to at least 490. If we get it back above that, we're going to be looking for a test of this blue trend line around 492. Overall, we look a little bit more bullish. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders on Nvidia that formed. This is starting to gain conviction. I called this out in the morning too. If you want to turn bearish, you want to see it basically lose 482 first, 480, and if it gets it below 480, that's when it can start turning. It needs to hold above 473. If we lose 473, that could invalidate the inverse head and shoulders. We're not even close to that just yet. If anything, we're favoring the bulls, and we have a nice inverse head and shoulders setup on Nvidia. So there's a very good chance it's going to try to break 485 and eventually get up to 490 plus for a temporary bounce. For Tesla looks bullish because, and here's the reason why. So we were looking weak on Tesla, but I called out this critical support right here. I told you we need to see Tesla hold this support and bounce off of this for us to hold up. If we lost this, we would turn bearish. We were looking kind of weak here. We formed a nice like triple bottom here. And then what's good about Tesla is it's very simple actually. When we zoom out like this, notice how we had this channel, right? We had this resistance. This white line was our resistance. We're kind of like rejecting off of this multiple times. We got like 3-4 rejections off of this, and we managed to get a break out of it. So what this tells us is that Tesla's trying to break resistance, starting to show some life. We haven't gotten a strong break yet, but it is making an attempt to do so. Watch resistance at 242. If Tesla breaks, then watch for 244 plus, 247, then 250. For support, make sure you watch 240. If we lose that, don't forget about this trend line right here. This 239 area is going to be our next support. If we lose the trend line right here, it's going to come all the way back down to this 237 area. That's our critical support, this zone right here. We actually held it very nicely, so it's a good sign for Tesla, and now it's showing some life. So I think Tesla's attempting to push up towards these imbalances, trying to get back into the 240s. It's showing some life, but I want to see it try to get above 242 and close above that. If it achieves that, there's going to be a good chance of a bounce. That's it for Tesla and the main ones. I think I'm forgetting Aapl. It's going to be my last one that I talk about in this video. For Aapl stock, we're also going to be looking at Aapl. Aapl came all the way down. It's about 181. It's a level I called out too. And now it's actually showing some life, a little bit of life, but it's not really that strong. It's still stuck at 182. So Aapl, it's not really strong, not extremely weak either, but it has this gap to fill. We have a big gap up to 184. If Aapl starts pushing to fill that gap, we could see a nice bounce. So we're going to be watching that very carefully as time goes on. We're still stuck in shuffling around the 182, so we'll see how it goes. And with that being said, there's not really a whole lot else that's going on. Watch to see if Aapl could fill this gap up here. We have a big gap that's unfilled. If you can't see it, let me just show you one more time just to like make this much easier to see. On the 30 minutes time frame, we have this big gap. You guys can see it right here on my left side. This big gap over here to fill. There's that big gap, and there's also a small gap right here. For the much shorter time frame, we also have this gap here. This is going to be around 184. So watch this gap up here to 184. See if Aapl can try to break this. If it gets above 182.5, there's a good chance it's going to try to push for 184, which could drag the market upwards. So watch that very carefully. We'll see how it goes from there. All right, guys. With that being said, that's it for now. The market's kind of reacting to the bill auctions, which just came out. We're showing some life, but I want to see if we can get some follow-through moves going into tomorrow. And the market's showing some signs of trying to hold up. So make sure you watch these supports carefully and see if the market continues to push by the end of the day, if not by tomorrow. But that's it for your intraday update. I'll be back by the time the market closes, maybe in a couple of hours as well for another update. So I'll see how it goes. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like down below, maybe even a comment. It would really, really benefit me and also the entire community. So thank you. Have a great day, guys, and peace out.